So the three important thing is ACR. Accept the unchangeable, change the changeable, remove yourself from the unacceptable. So many times you will see why there is a stagnation in your life. It is not because of the other people. It is because of your own you are the reason for your own stagnation. So you should identify the conditions of the stagnation, Two, if you see there is a progress in life, again it is because of your effort only. You should identify the conditions which is favoring your progress. When there is an abundance in life, again it is because of your work only. You should identify the conditions of abundance. You should identify the conditions of progress. At the same time, you should identify the conditions of your stagnation. And moment you are able to analyze this, put those conditions into accept the unchangeable. 2, change the changeable. 3, and put those conditions, remove yourself from the unacceptable. So if you are able to keep analyzing with a question, why there is a stagnation in life, why there is a progress in life, why there is abundance in your life, why alone this is happening to me, when you analyze that, and if you put it into the 3 formula which I gave you, the formula which I gave you, that is ACR, accept the unchangeable, change the changeable, then remove yourself from the unacceptable, automatically you can transform your life to the greater possibilities. My dear friends, it is very important that you harness this opportunities. And many a times when you deal with the people, the second important thing which I wanted to discuss, many a times when you deal with the people, we deal with the people for the desires we have. Do not have the desire when you deal with the people. We always want somebody to give us something. Do not have the desire. You just be in the process. You just be in the process. So, and it is very important that we exhibit the choices. We exhibit what do we do when we see a person? We have a desire. By doing this to him, he will do this do us this back. So that is the thought process we have. So, and accordingly we will make choices. Accordingly we will make the choice of words. It's better when you deal with the people who don't have any expectation. You see the people who don't have any expectation from the society. You see the people who are not conditioned by the society. You see the people who are not conditioned by the ecosystem. They'll be the most happiest person. You will say, society enna nanacha enak enna. Whatever the ecosystem thinks, how does it matter? I live my life with 3 principles. 1 is solidarity, 2 principle centeredness, and 3 appropriateness. If 3 things are happening, automatically you will be accepted everywhere. Do not expect anything from the society. Do not expect anything from the people you deal with. If you expect anything from the people you deal with, automatically you will feel like you are a loser, because expectations, if it doesn't match, then you find them very difficult. And even it applies to your own kids, sons and daughters. Do not carry any expectation with them. You just have to be a facilitator for their progress. You just have to be a guiding light to them. Don't impose. So many a times in your family, in families, we see when the son and daughter on whom we impose, they don't grow, they don't evolve. Rather, they become a rebel. It's very important. We should execute the choices, and those choices should be with the unselfish attitude. What can be changed is ourselves. We cannot go and change any person. Do not venture into that idea. Do not venture into the idea. What can be done is, how can you become a contributor? For example, if you are teaching good principles to your students, if you are teaching good principles to your son and daughter, it is very important you live that principle first. When you live that principle with a full conviction, consideration, and courage, automatically by observing you, your kids also will live those values. For example, you may say to your kids that don't waste your time, but whereas you will be sitting in the serial and watching the serial in the television, that means the kid knows well that my mom or my dad says that I should not waste time, but he is wasting the time. So it is very clearly visible. That means you don't have a conviction on the principles what you preach. So it is the same thing that applies to the student also. You have to live the way you are thinking your students to evolve. So automatically, the people who are dealing with you also will transform. It's very, very simple idea. It's very, very simple idea. You try to implement this. Whatever you are thinking other persons to execute, you start exhibiting that to the same person. For example, you expect respect from other person, start respecting him from today, and you will see that reciprocation happens from tomorrow. I assure you that reciprocation happens from tomorrow. That means there are no difficult people. It is those situations is an opportunity to realign our personality. So every difficult situation is an opportunity for us to align ourselves to be a contributor. Not only that, so always when you have expectation, for example, other person may deliver, they may deliver more than your expectation. So you are happy when he delivers that. Certain times he delivers at par with your expectation. At that point of time, you are moderately happy. And if he delivers anything less than your expectation, you find it difficult. Similarly, he will deliver certain times opposite to your expectation. Then you find it very difficult. So what creates the difficulty is, it is your expectation on the other person. Do not expect anything from the surrounding. It is you who have to be a go-getter and a contributor. Now, when I'm talking about the consequences, when I talk about the contributor model, before that we should understand what is the consequences. What is the consequences? Now, for example, when there is an expectation from the other person, that expectation he meets more than the expectation, you are happy about it. You are in cloud 9. No problem. 2, he is delivering at par with your expectation. Again, you are happy because what you expected, he delivered. So while he is delivering, he delivered what you expected, less than what you expected. Then you really become frustrated on him. And when he delivers opposite, it becomes a difficult situation for you, and you consider that as a problem. So it is very important that you should not have any expectation. When expectation fail, then it is very important that you should accept those things also will happen. So you cannot break your head and go and change out the world there. It is very important you get yourself right to get the world right. In fact, there was one father. That father, while he was a kid and a dad, so father was father, mother, and a kid. So dad, mom, and kid were there at home. So mom was cooking in kitchen, and dad was reading newspaper. That small kid of 11 to 12 years kept on disturbing dad. So dad, what he did, he saw a newspaper. He saw a newspaper with a world map. So what did he do? He tore that newspaper and he created a jigsaw puzzle. He created a kind of a jigsaw puzzle and set the kid to arrange the newspaper so that he can see every country and arrange the newspaper so that it will take time. By the time he will complete reading the newspaper, the kid took all the pieces torn by the father, the newspaper which had a world map, and arranged it very quickly. Very quickly. And within 10 minutes, it arranged and it stuck it with properly. It stuck it and with a sellotape, and it took that world map to his father, and father was astonished. Dad was so astonished about that kid, and he said, "How did you do this? It will take hours for even me to finish this." Then the child replied and turned the newspaper and showed the man's face. So the child said, "I got the man right and the world became right. I got the man right and the world became right. I repeat, I got the man right and the world became right." That means the kid actually did not do the jigsaw puzzle using the world. The kid went on to do the jigsaw puzzle by looking at the face of a person. My dear friends, what is the message that we need to understand from this? The message that we need to understand is, first, we should become a contributor. Most of the time, we are in a career where we always try to acquire. We should evolve to a career where we are a contributor. Very, very important. When you are a contributor, there is no expectation at all. You keep contributing. 2, and when you contribute, you need to understand, nobody is asking you to sacrifice your life. You have to live your life with a self-care. COVID-19 situation is an example. COVID-19 situation is an example. And in COVID-19, it is very important. First of all, you should take have a self-care, and with the self-care, you should have self-interest. With the self-care, you should have a self-interest. With the self-care, you should have a self-interest. When you have a self-interest, that should be transformed into an enlightened self-interest. There are 3 stages. 1 is the self-care, 2 self-interest, then 3 enlightened self-interest. For example, today a student is studying under you. So you first should take care of yourself. You should take care of yourself. That is your knowledge, self-care. Then you should have a goal that I should be the best teacher to teach that student. Nobody could be best than me. That vision should be there in your mind. That means you are working to your potential. That is self-interest. Now you are going and transforming that kids, transforming that student. That is enlightened self-interest. That is enlightened self-interest. So what do we mean? What we should understand, that self-interest is not a problem, but it should turn out to be an enlightened self-interest. It should turn out to be enlightened self-interest. It should not turn out to be jealousy, or we should not feel envy about the situation. My dear teachers, it's very, very important that you understand all this situation. And many times when you deal with the people, there are 2 important things you encounter. 1 is uncertainty and 2 is insecurity. While you deal with the difficult people, there are 2 important things which you encounter. 1 is uncertainty, 2 is insecurity. Both things you encounter. What does it mean? This is a situation where you are not able to understand what could be the outcome of the discussion with that particular person. It is an uncertainty. My dear friends, when you deal with a human being, we have to understand that uncertainty is a wonder, insecurity is a freedom. Uncertainty is a wonder, and insecurity is a freedom. I repeat, uncertainty is a wonder, insecurity is a freedom. Uncertainty is a negative connotation, but wonder is a positive connotation. Insecurity is a negative connotation, but freedom is a positive connotation. So uncertainty and insecurity, when you deal with the people, is what you generally focus on. But shift your focus from uncertainty to wonder and insecurity to freedom. This is a very, very important idea which you should understand. And second important thing, many times when you have uncertainty, there is an uncertainty and you are not able to accept it. You are not able to accept it. It becomes a fear. There is an uncertainty. You are not able to accept that it is uncertain. Then it becomes a fear. Then it becomes a fear. For example, look at students sometimes. There is an examination coming in. Examination is a situation where everybody will be feeling uncertain. You have to accept that the examination will be like that. That means uncertainty, and you are not able to accept that the examination is coming in, you have to perform, then it amounts to fear. Whereas it is uncertain, but is able to accept it, you are able to accept it is uncertain, it becomes adventure. People who go on trekking, look at them. When they go on the mountain, they don't know what all the things they will encounter. But they are moving forward with excitement, with happiness. This is adventure. And similarly, whatever you are not able to accept with uncertainty becomes a fear. What becomes adventure is nothing but uncertainty plus acceptance. Uncertainty plus acceptance. And for example, second important situation when you deal with the people, something happens and it is not the way you want it, and it is not the way you want it, and it is not the way you wanted from that person. Something happened, it is not the way you wanted from that person. Then when you are not able to accept it, it becomes anger. It able to accept it, it becomes anger. Similarly, something happens, something happens which you did not want to happen, but you are able to accept, it becomes tolerance. It becomes tolerance. Situation is the same. The question is whether you accept it, not accept it. If you accept it, it becomes tolerance. It gives you positive emotions. If it is you are not able to accept it, it gives you negative emotions. It gives you negative emotions. All right. Similarly, for example, just a second. Sorry, there is a battery down. Can you please put mute? Everybody on mute. Yeah. Right. So it's very important. It's very important that we shift our thinking process. So something plus non-acceptance leads to anger, fear, jealous, and hatred, which is actually negative emotion. And something plus acceptance actually leads to tolerance, then it becomes an adventure, then inspiration and forgiveness. Inspiration and forgiveness. When I say inspiration and forgiveness, when I say hatred and forgiveness, somebody has hurt you. Somebody has hurt me, for example, somebody has hurt me, and I'm not able to accept that. That becomes an hatred. Somebody has hurt me, but I accept it, it is natural, then it becomes a forgiveness. So it is just a shift of accepting or non-accepting, which creates an emotion. So why did I stress about it? The anger, fear, jealous, hatred, tolerance, adventure, inspiration, forgiveness. These are all emotion, negative emotion and positive emotion. This actually gives you the EQ, emotional quotient. With that emotional quotient only, you can harness the spiritual quotient. It is a bedrock of the spirituality. Emotion is the bedrock of the spirituality. So it is very important. It is very important which emotion you pick up. Which emotion you pick up. Something plus acceptance is always positive emotion. Something plus non-acceptance is always negative emotion. A bigger transformation, if you want a bigger transformation in life, you want to be happy, peace, and quality of life have to improve. It is very important you don't feel disturbed, so that you get rid of the negative emotion. You should apply the ACR. Accept the unchangeable. 2, change the changeable. And 3, remove yourself from the unacceptable. Remove yourself is unacceptable. What is disturbing you? Every time you see what is disturbing you when you deal with other people. What is disturbing you? Why are you disturbed? Who is disturbing you? It is only one attribute. The question is whether you accept the situation or you don't accept the situation. So please apply the ACR wherever it is possible, wherever possible. So for example, in every instance, you can transform the negative emotion to positive emotion when you deal with the difficult people. There's nothing called difficult people, the difficult situations. So how do we transform the negative emotion to positive emotion? Hatred becomes, for example, if you accept it, hatred becomes forgiveness. If you accept it, jealousy becomes inspiration. If you accept it, fear becomes adventurous. If you accept it, anger becomes tolerance. If you accept it, missing becomes thinking. So negative to positive. So you can do any PhD on the behavioral science. You will conclude that it is the acceptance and non-acceptance that makes your emotional quotient to be strong. My dear friends, when you change, I clearly told you about that example of a kid. When he got the man right, the world became right. You get yourself right in accepting or non-accepting using the formula called ACR. Using the formula called ACR, and you will see your life will get transformed, and dealing with other people becomes very, very easy. My dear professors and teachers and all the staffs of the KCG college, let me also give you some very, very important very important tool for making the people to like you. It's very important. Instead of waiting for the other people to instead of you liking other people and you're only trying to do it, how do you make other people to like you? How do you make other people to love you? There are 9 important steps which you should practice as part of your organization. This is developed by Dale Carnegie, and I would request you to note down these 9 steps which will be useful to you. I'll explain each of the steps. First step is don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. You see the most powerful people in the world, you see the most powerful people who are all achievers, they will not be in the mode of criticizing, complaining, or condemning. They'll always be encouraging, they'll see opportunity in every situation, and they'll be able to be joyful in every given situation. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. This is the first thing that you should follow. 2, give honest and sincere appreciation. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Very, very important. For example, if you like this session, for example, if I would have been present in your college, after my session, you should come to me and give an honest appreciation. Give a honest appreciation. You need not exaggerate, but you should come and give honest and sincere appreciation. That is very, very important. Many times, many people, it is very difficult to deal with difficult situation. It's because we don't generally appreciate in the time when we have to appreciate. Most of the times when we have to appreciate, we actually scold that person. So it is very important that we appreciate, give honest and sincere appreciation. The third important thing to bring the other persons to do what you desire to do is to arouse in the other person an eager want. Arouse in the other person an eager want. Arouse in the other person an eager want. This is very, very important. You should actually create a want in other person. Then only you will hear. For example, somebody is working in your college, somebody is working and with you as a colleague. It is very important that you speak. First you should enlighten him and create an eager want in him. Then only will become a contributor. Otherwise, he will be doing a routine job in the college. It's very important. It's very important. The 4th, become genuinely interested in other people. Becoming genuinely interested in other people. Becoming genuinely interested in other people. You should be genuinely interested with other people. It is not just only talking. You should be really empathetical about other people's problem. Hear out, give them solution. And when you give the solution, have a feeling that they should come out from the problem. Think as though it is your problem. And you see how much people will be magnetized towards you. It's very, very important. 5th, the very, very difficult thing, smiling. Please smile. Nowadays, the biggest problem that humanity is, the crisis in humanity is we are not able to smile from our heart. We should smile. We should smile. And the 6th, remember that a man's name is to him is the sweetest and the most important sound in any language. When you are calling the other person, please call them with their name. Please call them with their name. Kindly leave this ma'am and sir attitude. Ma'am and sir attitude. Please call the other person with their name. Please call the other person with their name, because their name, man or woman's name, is to him or her is the sweetest and the most important sound in any language. So please use the name. Many times when you call the other person by their name, that itself is more than sufficient to get the work done. So use the name. Use the name, and their name is the sweetest for them in any language. 7, be a good listener. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. So when you are entering into a conversation, it is very important that you should become a good listener. You should keep on be listening to the other people's problem. And when you keep listening to the other people's problem, automatically solutions will come. You can draft the solution to them. Talk in terms of the other man's interest. Talk in terms of the other man's interest. Very important. Talk in terms of other man's interest. Do not talk from your interest. Talk from the other man's interest. All the people who worked on the other man's interest, other society's interest, evolved as leaders and became rich. If they're into entrepreneurship, if they're leaders, they became leaders. All the people who exhibited talents are the people who worked for the other man's interest. For example, S.B. Balasubramaniam, the great singer, today is not with us, but we all revere his songs because he contributed for upliftment of the art. But he did not work as per his wish. There are many singers, but not all the singers remain in our hearts. 40,000 songs he has sung. That means he's a legendary. He has created legendary possibility. So that is the reason he worked on the other man's interest. He always thought my song, how it will be pleasing to hear for other people. how it will attract other people. So he always worked for the other man's interest. So it is very important, talk in terms of the other man's interest. 9, it's very, very important principle. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. And do it sincerely. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. And do it sincerely. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. I repeat, these are the 9 ways to make the people life. If you follow this, I assure you that you will be able to deal with any situation. There is nothing called difficult people. It is only difficult situation. It is only a difficult situation. The people are not difficult. The situations are difficult. If you know how to make use of the, how to handle the situation, every person will come and magnetize to your ideas. So my dear professors and teachers and KCG college staffs who are listening this session, you have to understand there's nothing called difficult people. It is always difficult situation. If you apply this principle of ACR and acceptance principle, and if you understand you are not if you understand that you are 5 dimension, physical, 2 mental, 3 intellectual, 4 emotional, 5 spiritual, and this is what is the offering for you for the upliftment of the other person, and you develop all these 5 dimension because to work for the contribution, and to develop this 5, by developing and harnessing this 5, you become effective. To become great, you need to be working on the spiritual quotient and emotional quotient. And one emotional thing which is very basic important thing to be understood is acceptance. Something happens to you, you accept it, then it becomes a positive energy. If you deny it, if you are not accepting it, then it becomes a negative emotion. So in your day, you go and check how many times you accept what happens to you, how many times you don't accept what happens to you, and why are you angry? It is because you are not able to accept. You are not able to accept. You are like, keep on questioning the God. Why it happened to me? Why it happened to me? Why it happened to me? We'll all be keep blaming others. But actually, if you change yourself, if you are able to understand your problem, then automatically you will be able to accept what happens to you, and you will work on what is the problem. And when you work on what is the problem, then you evolve as a human being to explore your own potential. That is the reason Swami Vivekananda says, you are infinite. You are infinite. When he said you are infinite, he meant that 5 dimension has to be harmonized. Physical, 2 mental, 3 intellectual, 4 emotional, 5 spiritual. And while you do this, you should become a contributor. That is what is called selfless work. When you do a selfless work without any expectation, automatically you will become magnetized to other people and the ideas. And this is the teaching of every religion in the world. Every religion in the world. This is a teaching in every religion in the world. The words may vary, the situations may vary, the context may vary, but the essence of every religion is to realize your potential and to ensure that you become infinite, and you ensure that the uncertainty becomes a wonder, and insecurity becomes a freedom. So that is the entire reason we have all the literature surrounding us. It is unfortunate that we don't really understand the real values of the ideas that are surrounding us. My dear professors and teachers, so when I was meeting His Holiness Dalai Lama, I have met him for many times. I keep interacting with him. In fact, I've called him to Chennai on October 15th for APJ Abdul Kalam program, which he has also accepted. I just got the news that he'll be addressing the APJ Abdul Kalam's birth anniversary in this October 15th. So in online mode. So I have interacted with him. Once I asked him how to develop a compassion. Because compassion is the basic fundamental thing to which you develop empathy. Only when you develop empathy, you will start loving people. Only when you develop, how much empathy quotient you have, determines your compassion. Right? Determines your compassion, and compassion determines your empathy. The compassion determines your empathy. Right? What is this compassion? How to develop the compassion? His Holiness said, in fact, we can really develop unbiased compassion He said, definitely we can develop unbiased compassion. I believe that human being is gentle and compassionate, although many people in the past and now think it is a basically aggressive. And he said, at the time of conception and while we are in our mother's womb, our mother's compassionate and peaceful mental state is a very positive factor for our development. If the mother's mind is very agitated, it is harmful for us. And that is just the beginning of life. Even the parent's state of mind at conception is important. If a child is conceived through not in the normal ways, for example, then it will be unwanted, which is a terrible thing. For conception to take place properly, it should come from genuine love and mutual respect and not just mad passion. It is not enough to have some casual love affair. The two partners have to know each other and respect other people also. This is the basis of the happy marriage, and that's how the compassion starts building in the kid also. So further, life should be properly start from such a situation. That is the crux. So even in the relationship, we should have compassion. When a relationship is demanding compassion, the world out there is also demanding compassion from you. So if you want to be achiever, if you want to evolve to be a compassionate person, very important is to develop empathy and compassion, and both are not different, but parallelly they travel with you forever. So that's what Swami Vivekananda says: head to think, heart to feel, head to think, hand to work. Heart to feel, head to think, hand to work. I repeat, heart to feel, head to think, hand to work. Heart to feel. It is very, very important we feel for the situation. And head to think. We should think and then intellectually analyze. And then hand to work, hand to work. That is action-oriented life. Action-oriented life. It is just not about feeling compassionate. It's very important. We act on that. We act on that empathy to be an action-oriented person, because the world recognizes the action more than talking. So my dear professors, this is my offering to you today, and I wanted to give this gift of message so that you know how to handle the difficult people. I've given you 9 steps for how to deal with other people. I've also given you the formula called ACR, and I've also spoken to you about in detail about physical, mental, intellectual, emotional and spiritual dimension, and which is the basic bedrock of all the religions in the world. This is my offering to you today, and if there is any questions, I am ready to take up those questions. Questions? Are there any questions?
Sir, excuse me, this is Kennedy. I'm professor. So I have some questions. First one I would like to ask is, do you want to say if we do not have spirituality, we cannot handle difficult people?
I would say yes, because now, for example, you question me this question. How did this question come? Because we are already spiritual. What is spirituality all about? It is the inner voice. While I was taking this session, there arose a question within you. You are just not listening. You are just not intellectually analyzing. But somewhere down the line, there is a calling to understand this concept. That is a pure consciousness. That pure consciousness you should recognize. You should recognize. For example, in your college, if there is one student who is doing a mistake, on one side, you are scolding him. But we are going on the way to your home. What are you thinking? Okay, it's fine. There are many students who committed mistake. Why can't this be a ever since moment to that guy? Let's forgive him. You come back next day. By hearing your inner voice, you come back and you rectify his problem. You actually warn him and then leave him. Forgiveness. You show sympathy, and that turns out to be empathy. And the same situation you encounter later point of time, you apply the same solution. There is an inner voice which is guiding. There's an inner voice which is guiding, which is there with every human being. The beauty of the human being is the inner voice. The question is, are we listening to that inner voice? The question is, we are listening to that inner voice, but some people are conscious about that inner voice. Some people are unconscious about the inner voice. For example, when you get anger, just go and check your inner voice, what it says. The inner voice will say, no, don't get anger. BP will come. Your heart will get spoiled. You unnecessarily spoil the relationship. You should accept the situation leave the situation for some time, and then we'll later take up. This is conscious hearing of your inner voice. But what happens? You react first. Then after that, you go and hear your inner voice. Inner voice said, you should not have done this. That is spirituality. That is the reason in all religion, there is a calling to hear your inner voice. There's a calling to hear your inner voice. If you're able to hear the inner voice, automatically your offering will be love, compassion, and empathy. So spirituality is not something only to a particular religion. It is with all the religion, whether it is Islam or Christianity or Hinduism or Zen Buddhism or Jainism, anything. It is there with all the religion. It is about realizing your inner potential, hearing your inner voice for the betterment of the society with love and affection. People who are conscious to their inner voice are the people who win the world with the love. Mahatma Gandhi is an example. People who are empathetical go and show the action on working. Varghese Kurian of Amul is an example. Varghese, he acted with spiritual values. That is the reason he built a very valuable organization called Amul, which is now catering to the last mile citizen in Gujarat. Villages are empowered because of Amul. So why I'm giving this example, there are many more examples which Karmaveer Kamaraja, he was spiritual because he was deprived of food in his younger days. Because of that, he was not able to go to the school. But when he became the chief minister, he brought midday meal scheme. And this midday meal scheme, after MGR came, MG Ramachandran came, he enhanced that with the further nutrition, with eggs were offered in the Tamil Nadu government. So he further nutritioned it. Why did he do that? Because he also suffered his younger age. So every leader started hearing the inner voice, and later only comes all the advices around. So it is very important as a professor that we hear to the inner voice. Inner voice, the supreme consciousness that God has manifested that inner voice with everybody to speak to yourself. Speak to yourself. That's the reason Swami Vivekananda says, every day speak to yourself, otherwise you are missing something. That's what Swami Vivekananda said. Every day you should speak to yourself, otherwise you are missing something big in life. So speak to yourself. That process of speaking is called meditation. That process of speaking to yourself is meditation. Many people say, when I meditate, you get all the negative thoughts. At least we are conscious that we are getting negative thoughts is the first step, first success in meditation. And later, transforming that negative energy into a positive energy is the next step. And after we transform into positive energy, you get infinite joy, and that infinite joy connects you to the God. This is a scientific process of evolving the spirituality, Edward sir.
Sir, excuse me, but the same thing as you quoted, but there are very towering leaders who deny God, also handle the difficult people very successfully.
Absolutely right, sir. Absolutely right. I'll give an answer to that. In fact, I expected this question. Even an atheist who denies God is believing on the God. I'll tell you how. Atheist may deny a form worship, but he believes on himself. When he says he believes on himself, he's believing on the consciousness. He's believing on the consciousness. When he believes on the consciousness, automatically the God's quality, what we have defined as God's quality, he himself radiates. I hope you can understand. So we are defining it as a God. People who believe on the God define it as a God's quality. People who deny God define it's a man's quality. So that's the reason I'm saying God has manifested as a man to contribute to the world at large. So you are absolutely right. In fact, I wanted to draw a quotation. I wanted to draw to the reference of the book written on Bhagat Singh. Bhagat Singh is an atheist, you know better. But in his book, Martyr, you should go and refer that book. Go to that book in Kindle, put Control F and put Swami Vivekananda. And he will say, he will appreciate Swami Vivekananda because he is an atheist. He is a master of all the atheists. Who is Bhagat Singh? He is mastered atheism, unconditional atheism. He is unconditionally atheist. Okay, he is not a conditioned atheist. He is unconditional atheist. He says the metaphysics of religion, propagated by Swami Vivekananda West, he appreciates that effort because even Bhagat Singh believes on the metaphysics of religion. That metaphysics of religion is nothing but what I spoke. That energy that is there with you is the energy within me, that rearing to the inner voice, exhibiting the good qualities of thoughts and radiating the positive energy is what is the ultimate aim of the human being. So that gives the enormous strength to explore our human potential, sir. You are absolutely right. It does not matter whether you are atheist, whether you are a theist, but one thing is that don't be a conditional theist and become a unconditional atheist. Both are wrong. Accept the situation where there's a metaphysics of higher energy, cosmic energy, there's a biomagnetic forces which are acting on you to exhibit your real talents. Ultimately, the purpose of every religion is to explore your inner potential. It is just not about religion. Even atheism itself is a religion. Atheism itself is a religion which makes you to believe on yourself. That's why Swami Vivekananda says, I don't call a person who does not believe on God as an atheist. I call a person who does not believe on himself as an atheist. So he primarily focuses on believing on yourself. And that's the crux of the message, Edward, sir.
Thank you, sir. I am continuing my another question. It is connected with the topic, managing the difficult people. I will tell you two cases from the school. Actually, it is from a government school. In Krishnagiri, class 11 boy sexually assaulted class 10 girl, and that he was arrested. That everybody know in the news. There is another thing in nearby Solinganallur government school. A school boy leaves his class during once the classes commences and came out and pickpocketed in the buses and then again got back to the classes. So this is regularly occurring. The school management finds it difficult to act on the students because the village is involved, his community is involved. How do we handle situation like this? Managing difficult people cannot be done only with the spirituality in these kind of cases. What is your response, sir?
Even in these kind of cases, sir, spirituality is the solution, sir. I already told you spirituality is not something to do with the religion. It is the higher set of values. And let me give you very simply. If you see that Krishnagiri example, I would not say that it is a student mistake. It is a society's mistake. It is society, we as a society, we have failed. I repeat again, we as a society, we have failed because we are actually fighting on the smaller issues. We elect the politicians who go and we thought they will go and represent higher values, but ultimately what is happening? They have lost the focus. In the name of religion or whether atheism or theism, we have lost giving the values to the students. So it is very important that the students are given unconditional knowledge. And it is, you said that it is happening in the government school, and it is not just in government school. It can happen any part of the system. So what is important? Let's not blame the government school. We as a society, we have to be proactive. The first task is to make all the educated to contribute. Sir, for example, I am a chartered accountant, cost company secretary, and a lawyer. I have done my CMA, UK, CGMA, US. This session, what I'm doing in the afternoon. Why am I doing this session? At the end of the day, I have my profession. Everybody is there in the profession. I have a busy schedule. But why do I do this? I have empathy on the society. Wherever there is a point of influence, I'm trying to go and influence the thought. Because if I go and influence the thoughts, then that thought, which is pure development of the human being, that goes to the ultimate bottom of the pyramid. So wherever there are influences, it is very important, beyond our conditioning, we should evolve as a society to help the society to evolve. The student who has done that mistake, I don't blame him, because now let me give an example. What can we expect from the student community? 24/7 when the media is showing utter nonsense, when serial is showing utter nonsense, when movies are propaganding about this quality, what you are mentioning, what do we expect the students to do? So it is a society which is actually giving them the opportunity, which is putting them in the wrong direction. Tell me how many television today talks about the leader's contribution. Tell me how many television in the today talks about the value system, and they are also falling prey to it. Only when there is a negative news comes, we go and see that. When there are positive things happening, there's a website called Better India. So how many of them go and see the Better India website? So I think as a society, we have politicians who are with a criminal background. We have policymakers, more than 25% of the policymakers who complete the IAS and UPSC examinations, different policymakers, they get arrested in their lifetime, 25%. And we run the government schools. At the same time, in the same state, we run taskmark. So what do we expect the society? When the society is at mistake, we are not here to supposed to blame that student who has done that. Yes, it is a mistake. He has done a blatant mistake. I accept it. But it is just not, he is just influenced by the society. He is just influenced by the society. If society has to change, it is the political leadership has to change over a period of time. 2, the focus of the media should change in building the human capital, and society should work on building social capital for all communities, from the bottom of the pyramid to the top of the pyramid. Everybody should work building social capital to provide liberty, fraternity, and equality. This should be the aspiration. At no point of time we can achieve the economic equality. No point of time we can achieve economic equality. Everybody cannot achieve economic equality. I assure you, it can never happen in any society. But from the spiritual level, we can really see if somebody is suffering, we can go and give hand to them to lift them up, and we should be able to create social capital. For example, today, if you come up in your life from your village, I'm very sure you are an asset for the social, you are an asset for that village. If I have come from a village, I'm an asset to my village. I may stay in Chennai, but I always seek an opportunity. You may seek an opportunity to go and transform your village. So as an educated, it is our role to go and educate the uneducated. What we have realized. So the realization is nothing but spirituality. Either solution to development of this nation or any nation is a spiritual value system. We may call it spiritual, we may call it values, we may call it pure consciousness, we may call it supreme consciousness, we may call it believe on yourself. Anything is it could be any model. Ultimate purpose is to make the other person happy and have a harmonious society. That is the reason all the leaders spoke in different philosophy. Ultimate philosophy is a service to the man, and service to the man is a service to the God, and God is nothing but pure consciousness and higher energy.
And my last question is, you said you remove yourself, accept the unchangeable, change the changeable, and remove yourself. If something is not correct, then we have to get relieved from the place. Do you want to say the judges who finds that cannot render a good judgment has to get relieved from those cases? Or wherever in the inquiry panel, wherever we are there, when we find that justice cannot be done, we have to get ourselves relieved from those things?
No, when we precisely talk about, because as a citizen, we should understand legally that is the situation today. So we will only comment about the judgment. Now the judgment is coming. Again, it's very simple idea. It is the society who has created judges. The judges are giving the judgment. So if you believe the system is foolproof, then you have to accept the judgment. That's it. So we have created this society. So if you believe that in next 30 years, you should not get the same kind of judgment, it is our responsibility today to groom our younger generation, which is about 65% of the youth in the country, with the value system. And why do you think the institutions of the government lack this? Very simple. There is no value system. Any institution, any government, whether it is parliament or whether it is any government setup, why is it lacking? Again, it squarely comes to value. If you believe that there is a value system, automatically you will believe on, you will take the judgment. So we really doubt our value system. So when we have a doubt about the value system, so the solution is we have to develop a clear-cut value system. Clear-cut value system. And why do we have rules in the college? In the college, we have rules for developing the value, not just disciplining. Not just disciplining. We are trying to develop value. So that, why do we have rules within the religion? We have value. Why do we even have certain rules when you are an atheist? It is to develop your value, not to disturb the society. So everything is revolving around, every value system is revolving around creating you and making you believe and become a contributor for positive things in the society. It is unfortunate, as you said, as you were mentioning, these things are happening and everybody knew about it. So we have to work with the younger generation. You have an opportunity, I have an opportunity to go and see how we can change the world. Just because you and I came here, the world should become a better place to live. That should be our goal. We cannot go and change everybody. But there are two things: circle of influence, circle of concern. If it is a circle of concern, you cannot do anything with a circle of concern. What you and me are speaking today about this last question is a circle of concern. We cannot go and change. What is circle of influence? There are 55 people here. These 55 people, if you become value oriented, that is, value oriented is nothing but solidarity, principle centeredness, and appropriateness. There is nothing called right and wrong. Appropriateness. If the appropriateness is developed, automatically we will be able to contribute. So three important bedrock principles is solidarity, principle centeredness, and appropriateness.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, this is Kannan from mechanical department. Sir, how to extract work from the difficult people, sir? Is it follow that 9 rules will be obey that?
Definitely, sir. If you follow the 9 principles, I'm not saying this. Dale Carnegie is saying this. How to Win and Influence People is that book written by Dale Carnegie. If you're able to follow the 9 principles which I gave you primarily, you will definitely magnetize people, and you'll nobody could be a difficult people for you. I assure you that.
Thank you, sir.
This is a behavioral expert, Viktor Franklin, who was a part of the Nazi Germany concentration camp. He wrote about this ideas. And by the way, to answer Edward Sir's question also, the idea of spirituality was also explored by Albert Einstein and Dr. Viktor Franklin. So these are the people who propagated this idea, following them up, Dale Carnegie and Stephen Covey, Anthony Robinson, all the top-notch behavioral experts in the world came out with this solution. So that's the point. So this 9 steps which I gave you will definitely do miracles to your life. I assure you that.
Thank you, sir.
Are there any questions? Okay, we have come to the close of the session. And thank you, Mr. Satyakumar, for an informative session. The underlying message is, it is not difficult people we encounter in life. It is only difficult situations. And you pointed out that to transform different situations to favorable situations, we need to apply ACR. And you also explained to us the 9 steps to be followed in personal and professional life so that we are liked by all. And to conclude, you said our heart, head, and hand should work in unison, and we should feel, think, and act to create favorable situations. Thank you very much, Mr. Satyakumar.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jaya ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you all the professors here who are present, especially thanks to Edward Kennedy, sir, for asking a wonderful question, because the questions which are deep gives deep values and deep ideas to the participants. I really thank Edward, sir. I really thank Revati ma'am for this wonderful questions and wonderful interactive session. I look forward for many interactive sessions. I would request this recording also to be shared with me post the session. I'll be very happy to have in our office and to play our colleagues and students. Thank you so much, KCG College of Technology. And I'm very happy to say in Madras Management Association, KCG runs the memorial lecture for Varghese sir. And I vividly remember hearing those iconic lectures by different experts, and very happy to be associated with KCG College of Technology and be part of this great family. Thank you so much, Revati ma'am. Thank you so much, Jaya ma'am. Thank you so much, Kannan sir, for the question. And thank you so much, Edward Kennedy sir, for this great opportunity to answer all your questions. Thank you so much.